Welcome to Hunter Beyond Time and Space Chapter 11. Farewell. The melody of the harmonica was very beautiful. Moreover, the harmonica seemed to be mixed with an inexplicable rhythm, surpassing ordinary music. It was like the feeling Chin had last night, when he had a nightmare. But when all the prisoners were immersed in the wonderful music, Chin could not suppress the surprise and shock in his heart. Because he had heard this song before. Farewell. Outside the long pavilion, beside the ancient road, fragrant grass stretches to the sky. Chin's pupils gradually contracted. Isn't this a world after crossing over? Why would there be this song of farewell? He thought that when he saw the mechanical civilization, he believed that it should have no connection with Earth. But now it seems that he was wrong. Could it be that this is the future of Earth? Chin began to search his memory, trying to find clues from the books he read in the reading area yesterday. But the result disappointed him again. Those inspirational and philosophical books couldn't help him. The harmonica stopped, and the noise came from the 18th prison again. At a certain moment, Chin suddenly felt that this prison was like a colosseum. Behind each alloy gate were steel monsters representing various desires. When the gate was opened, he was no longer as awkward and vigilant as on the first day, but went straight to the plaza downstairs, bypassing the prisoners in line. His unauthorized action did not attract the unmanned drones in the sky or the machine guards to take a second look at him. Just outside the cafeteria, Lin Xiaoxiao greeted him with a smile, "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" At this time, Chin had two black circles under his eyes. He looked at Lin Xiaoxiao coldly and thought to himself, "Can I sleep well? Don't you know? Some people say that a dream can only last up to 8 minutes, which is extremely short compared to one's entire life." However, after Chin escaped from the nightmare yesterday, he counted his countdown. The nightmare had trapped him for more than 2 hours, and he did not feel the passage of time at all in the nightmare. Moreover, after escaping from the nightmare, he thought about things for a long time until late at night before falling asleep. Although Chin had the ability to remember everything he saw, he was still an ordinary person at heart, different from special people like Lin Xiaoxiao. He couldn't stay up late and still be full of energy the next day. Li Shutong glanced at Chin's face and said, "Most people will be very weak and listless after coming out of a nightmare, but you are different. You broke free from Xiaoxiao's control and took up a dagger in the nightmare. It's already remarkable that you can stand today." Chin sat opposite him and asked directly, "How can I become someone like him?" Li Shutong smiled, "You're straightforward, but you can't follow his path. Instead, my path is more suitable for you." When Li Shutong said this, Chin clearly felt that the expressions of Yi Wan and Lin Xiaoxiao had changed. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt that the atmosphere had become serious. Even the dozing cat lifted its head to look at him. He really wanted to ask Li Shutong what his path was. However, judging from Road Guanyi's attitude towards Li Shutong, this person might be very famous outside, and many people should know what path Li Shutong was referring to. As a time traveler, speaking nonsense might be fine, but asking questions that showed a lack of common sense could be fatal. Chin skipped his doubts and asked again, "How can I take your path?" "Don't get me wrong," Li Shutong smiled. When Li Shutong smiled, the traces of time left in the corners of his eyes made Chin realize that the other party might be older than he had imagined. Li Shutong continued, "Yi Wan and Lin Xiaoxiao met me a little too late, so they couldn't take my path. And although I appreciate you now, it's not enough." "I understand," Chin nodded. This was reasonable. He felt that if someone was too familiar with him and shared everything with him at first sight, that person might have a problem. What he faced might not be an opportunity, but a danger. However, for Chin, being able to approach the edge of that mysterious world was already enough. That was something he had daydreamed about before, something that had never existed on Earth. Now he was very close to those things. How about playing chess today? Li Shuang looked at Qingchen. You don't look good. How about taking a day off? Chess is all about finding a worthy opponent. If I win when you're in a bad state, it's not fun. As the prisoners lined up for lunch and ate, more and more prisoners walked around freely in the cafeteria. Today was different. Many prisoners were paying attention to what was happening on Qingchen's side as they ate. Some even stood up with their trays and stared at the chessboard. Actually, there were not many prisoners who could understand chess. This was already an outdated entertainment activity. But Li Shuang liked it, so everyone had to pay attention to it. What if he also had a talent for chess and was valued by Li Shuang? Of course, this was just a fantasy. Most people were paying attention to the chess game because they were bored. Before, Li Shuang watched the endgame alone and no one dared to stare at him. Now, with Qingchen playing chess, the atmosphere seemed much more relaxed, and Yiwan no longer looked at people with a cold gaze. On the other side, even Lu Guanyi was watching with great interest, followed by a group of people like stars around the moon. Lu Guanyi enjoyed this very much. Li Shuang waited for Qingchen's reply, but Qingchen stood up calmly and said, "No need to rest. The game is the endgame of Investiture of the Gods. R2-5, R5-7, P2-8, R5-6, B4-1. Chess is a game of give and take," but Qingchen straightforwardly stated his every move, as if he had already expected that Li Shuang would cooperate with his moves, and directly deduced the endgame. Qingchen's red car entering the game attracted the black general and echoed the final move of B4-1, forming a fatal attack. This was a brilliant move that ordinary people could hardly think of. Others may not know what Qingchen was saying, but Li Shuang understood. If you want to break the endgame of Investiture of the Gods, there is only one way to go. Li Shuang looked at Qingchen and then turned over his black general on the chessboard. "I thought you were not in good spirits. If I win under such circumstances, it would be taking advantage of others, but I didn't expect that I was thinking too much." Among the crowd, Lu Guanyi's henchmen heard Lu Guanyi muttering, "He won again. This is too cool. Regardless of what field he wins in, as long as he can beat someone like Li Shuang once in his lifetime, it's worth it. I also want to learn chess." Those who had just been gathered did not understand why Lu Guanyi was interested in chess. It should be noted that although Lu Guanyi's combat power was outstanding in the 18th prison, his cultural level was definitely the bottom. At this time, Qingchen looked at Li Shuang and asked, "Can I ask you a question?"